In this video sponsored by Linearity Move, I'm going to show you how to take this social media post that I created months ago and animate it in just a few minutes without needing to know any animation skills. Okay, first off, in Figma, I have my carousel posts. This is a post that I created for when we were hiring a new video editor and graphic designer. And the great thing about Linearity Move is we can actually import this directly into it so we can animate our work. All I have is some type here, which I've gone ahead and flattened. All you have to do is sort of click on the type and make sure it's flattened, and that outlines it into shapes. And I've done that for both my type positions. We've got that, the background, we've got this cool image here, which has been masked, of some confetti, and an arrow down at the bottom right getting people to swipe over. When I originally posted this, it got like quite a number of people interested. However, it does seem a bit static. I know there is some movement in the confetti, but it'd be nice if we were able to make it move and animate it. So go ahead, download Linearity Curve. It's on the iPad and Mac, so don't worry. We're going to press new document here and just double click it. I'm going to import from Figma, which is crazy. It just does a new import. I'm going to click on my animated Instagram post, double click there, and it's going to estimate the file size and gather it all together. And then we can bring it in to our software very easily. We do that by just dragging this down like so. And what I love about this is how easy and seamless it is. We can actually fit this into different scenes if we wanted to. So we're going to add this to our only first scene, but if we had multiple artboards, we can create multiple scenes, which would be great for an Instagram post. So I'm going to import this in and boom, we have it there. First time you see it, it looks just like the Figma update. Pretty cool. You'll notice that we have these two buttons down here. We have the design button and the animate button. This is kind of like the workspace. If we just wanted to change some stuff on here, for instance, if I wanted to actually center the hiring update, I can do that in here and move it around just like you would in any design program. If I wanted to change where the confetti is, I can do that too. If I wanted to add other shapes in here, I can do that too. I can add some squares, take this color for instance, and I can design whatever I want in here, just like as you would think. It's very, very seamless. Down here, we have our scene layers. Now, the way that Linearity Move works is we have scenes, which we can add to, and when we go into one scene, we have the layers of that. So it kind of works like groups and pre-compositions, but that doesn't matter because it's very simple. I'm going to change the time to 15 seconds. And what I want to do is animate my confetti first, as that's like the big thing. I want it to come out exploding and then kind of like drooping down. Now, the way that we do this is we go into the animate section. This is where we change everything. We can animate whatever we want. And it works just like you think. We have like, we can click here, we can add a keyframe of, let's say, size, and we can add another keyframe if we move over time a little bit. We can change the size just by doing that, and you'll notice that it will just change size, but it's automatically smooth, which is really nice. It just does it for you. It's really satisfying. So here are two keyframes. We can move these out like so, and we can change the size, and we have some movement there, and it's really nice and easy. However, I don't want to do that. I want to easily change the size of this quite fast. So I'm going to use this pin function, and this allows us to do a couple of things. This allows me to set the in and out point of an actual animation. So for instance, the scale, I can move this pin over here or whatever. So I'm going to start here with my playhead there. I'm going to simply click on the image and I'm going to make it really, really small. I'm going to make sure it starts kind of here. And then when I press play, you'll notice it will go back to its original position. Boom. I like that. Now, what if I wanted to now make this move fall down? That would normally require more keyframes and more problems. Well, Linearity Move's got you covered. This is really interesting part. I'm just going to move the pin here, and you can see I've got this button pin. I'm going to move it ever so slightly. I'm going to increase the pin all the way to the end here. This is the end. Now, what if I wanted this to actually slowly fall down? Well, what I'm going to do is select my layer here, which is my image. I'm going to go to here and we're going to change the position. And here we're going to just drag the time frame over, drag this down a tiny bit. And now you'll notice it's dragged down, but it is too fast. It just sort of falls down. So instead of that, I'm going to actually move this keyframe to the end. And now you'll see that it falls down just very slowly. You can almost see it. It might be a bit too slow. Now, the problem we have here is it starts off very slow and then speeds up and slows down again. That's called easing. So what I'm going to do is actually change the position easing from ease in out to linear. And what that'll do is it'll just give more of a falling effect. It's just a very linear drop. And if I decide that it's not fast enough or going down enough, I can just move it down ever so slightly more, and boom, easily looks like it's falling down, which is pretty wild. I'm even going to move this keyframe just before it finishes coming up, so it feels like it's exploding and then coming down. Awesome, we've got our first part there. That looks pretty good. I can just preview this by there, that looks good. We do have a problem of actually showing the confetti right there. So there's a few things I can do for that. I can create a pin here or use the pin function. And at the start, I can have it so the opacity up here is just all the way down. And by the time it's up, you can see it's increasing its opacity between those two keyframes. As quickly as that, we've created this. Now, I wanted to also bring in the type a certain way. So this time I'm going to go to my type layer, which is here. So type layer, I'm going to rename that. And as this has come up, I want this to fall down. So again, I'm going to create the pin function. I'm going to move these two and I'm going to just select a random sort of time frame. It doesn't matter right now because I can change it all. Now in the animate properties, anything that I move now will actually move it in time. But if I'm in design, I can like edit things. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to just move this up because I want this keyframe to be there and I want this keyframe to be where it was. So now what we have is the type coming in quite nicely. It's a bit slow though. I'll just move that in a tiny bit so it's not as slow. It's a bit slow again. Boom, that's nice. So let's see it all together to see if we get it right. That is way too slow. Let's bring that right in. So boom, still a bit too slow. I'm gonna speed it up, move it backwards. How simple is this? Done. Now the next part is the arrow. Now we could just keep the arrow there or we could get it moving, but I want it to appear in a certain way. Now, cool thing about Linearity Move is that you can use masks to animate, which is really powerful. So around here, I'm going to use the pin function again. Now, the cool thing about this function is it takes the start and end point and essentially allows you to animate through it. So I'm going to find my arrow. Where is it? Let's just click it first of all. Here it is, these two vectors. I'm going to press Command G to group it and just call this arrow. I'm going to go back to the design tab here because I don't want to change anything now. I want to draw a mask over it. So I'm going to go here and draw just a random square around this guy. Get rid of that stroke. And I'm going to choose a fill color that I can see, but change the opacity so I can see underneath it. Now, what a mask does is it essentially masks out. It's like a non-permanent eraser. It just masks out a certain part or the part of the shape that you want. So here we go. We're going to call this arrow mask. What I love is how simple this is. Now, if I wanted to mask this arrow, I simply find the arrow group here. I'm going to just move this mask layer just below it, select by shift clicking and just right click a mask selection. You won't see much has happened. But if I open up the group, I'm going to rename it, and I go to the arrow mask shape, I'm going to get rid of the fill here. You can't see any sort of shape now. It's sort of hidden. What I can do is in the animate tab is I can animate in time this actual shape by just moving it. So I'm going to go to move and I'm going to just move it to the left over here. Now, what you'll see is that this is animating in now, like so. Pretty wild. So this is everything all together. Boom, boom, and then arrow comes in. Arrow's a bit too late, so I'm going to bring that arrow in. A bit too slow as well, so we'll just increase that speed by drawing those keyframes together. Amazing. I want the arrow to do a little like flick to get people to actually swipe across to get their attention on it. And a way of doing that is really cool inside of Linearity Go. It's probably the coolest feature is this pin one here. That's why I'm using it so much. So I'm going to make sure pin is selected and that I've got my arrow selected. Instead of starting my playhead here, I'm going to put it in the middle there. Now what this does is it means now that I'm in the animate tab, if I just go ahead and select the arrow, and if I just rotate it up slightly, you'll notice that a couple of keyframes have happened here. It's created one in the middle from its original state to the state that I've asked it to be, and then back to its original state. And what that does is it gives the illusion that it's flicking, which is pretty interesting. And with that, I'm going to increase the speed and bring it down a little bit with these 3 keyframes. Boom, as easy as that. So let's look at it all together. Up, up, arrow in, flick. And I can actually do that again, to be fair. I think that would work pretty well. Decrease that size there, increase my timeline, Click on the arrow mask again, and we'll just get it to flick up and down again. Just a couple of clicks. That's wild to me. It's very fast and very accurate. Okay, we still got a bit of a problem though, because at the start, we've got Will, Paterson, and the graphic design position. I don't want people to be drawn to this at the start. It looks kind of strange. So something that I want to do is over here somewhere, I'm going to put my pin function here. So graphic design position and my name, I'm going to make sure that the opacity is down to 0. And then when I do that, with just one click, we've created the opacity keyframes. So it will just slowly fade in like so. If it's too slow, I'll just move them in. If it's not in the right position, I can move them away as well, which is fine. And I'm gonna move this to the start, make it a bit faster so it's there at the beginning. I'm even gonna lock this layer here. I'm gonna move this to the back. There we go. So there we have it. There's the first animation done for Instagram. But Linearity Move isn't just good for Instagram or just any sort of social media post. It does really well at excelling in it, but it also does pretty well in animations for illustrations like this one that I've created here really easily that I can just share online. And I copied this from my vector program. I'm even working on an animation for my own logo here, which is pretty simple. And in fact, to finish this animation, I'm going to create a pin, and I'm going to zoom into my timeline, and I'm going to change the size and opacity so when it comes up, it feels like it's appearing out of nowhere and it kind of comes up. And that's literally how simple it is. So that is Linearity Move. It's a pretty cool software, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys create with this, whether it's social media posts, animating logos, and it doesn't just stop there. You can learn how to use this from their website. All the links will be down in the description below for you to get started on your animation journey. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. See you soon. Goodbye.